How elite is this defense?
I'll tell you what, man, these guys are playing hard, and that's what and a lot of guys, different questions have been asked, but for me, we are not playing perfect by any means, but when you watch the film, like, those guys in the field are playing hard, and they are flying around, they're communicating, and I really truly believe it's because they love each other. You know what I mean? They're playing for the guy to the right and their left. They're out there trying to make sure they're doing their job so that they don't leave their brother in harm's way. And especially a game like Air Force where it is an absolute dog. Every game we play is a dogfight, but especially obviously the nature of that offense. It makes even more. But I really just hats off to our players, man. They're playing at a high level. They're playing hard. And once again, like even we talked about last week, not perfect. A lot of stuff we got to clean up. A lot of things that Pursuit and these guys playing hard has covered up, maybe a misfit or a miscommunication. So we're working to make sure those things don't show up. But the biggest thing that I'm very proud of is just how hard our guys are playing. Not perfect. We got a long way to go. We got, obviously, week in and week out, you want to keep growing. That's the goal in every phase you're in. But I love this group. I love seeing them every day. They love playing for the guy to the right and their left. Now we just got to keep growing.
Whether it's in the red zone or on fourth down, you guys have come up with a lot of big stops this year. What goes into making those big stops?
I mean, it's the players making plays, and a lot of it for them is their prep to know, okay, what are they trying to do in this situation? If it's the red zone, if it's third down, fourth down, whatever it is. I mean, you guys go up in our facility the rest of the day, you're going to see guys in here studying, working through it, and that's where it comes from. The confidence you have in those biggest moments to be able to execute and win that big moment comes from your prep. And from the top down, from our leaders to even younger guys that are playing more, it's them showing them this is what it takes. So when you get to the game, you can have the confidence to execute in the biggest moment. And playing elite defense isn't every once in a while. To play really good defense, you have to do it every snap, because the second you don't, the second my eyes are on, the second I'm not doing my job, it's an explosive play, and that's obviously very average defense. And so working to continue to show, because we've obviously been in here and talked about some of the games where we have given up explosive plays and didn't play to the level we believe we are. And so you have to live on that razor's edge of how you prep will give you the confidence to make those big plays in those big moments.
You mentioned if you lay out for a second, somebody can hit a big play on you guys. How have you guys basically eliminated those seconds over the last month and a half? And does the experience of this unit, where you got a lot of guys that played a lot of football, play into that at all?
Oh, 100% it does. I mean, you got a lot of guys that have been through this before. They know the process of Sunday, Monday, how to get ready to play confident in a game. So that's a huge part of it, Jay. And I think a lot of it is, too, just them understanding how big of a deal it is. Not only just them making plays, but how is it, just because you're trying to make a play, if you're not doing your job, that also puts the defense in a bad spot. And that's shown up. So just making sure guys know the biggest elite defense is everybody doing their job. Starts with your communication, your eye control, and then everybody doing their job every play. Not just now or just, it has to be every play. And that starts in meetings, then goes to walkthrough, then goes to practice. And just getting guys used to that rhythm and that model is what has shown to help us eliminate some of those. Still, obviously, we gave up 6 in the game. We give up too many. But we're still working our tails off to bring that to be less. But it's all our players in regards to how they prep to know that everybody wants to make a play, and that's a good defense. You want every single one of those guys fighting and scratching to get to the ball. We talk about productions at the ball. You got to get there, but get there doing your job, and that's something that we've been emphasizing, and the guys have done a good job with it.
Your coach's box was right next to us during that game. I hear you yelling a lot.
Yeah, got a little excited every once in a while, good or bad.
On that fourth down play with Zeke Noah, we heard you yelling, telling him to get back.
No question. Oh yeah.
He actually did. But what kind of, for him to bat that ball down on that fourth down play, and he said he kind of knew what was coming with the scouting report and stuff.
Yeah.
So how big was that play?
Oh, it was awesome, and there's no doubt. I was screaming like heck to get him back, but it was huge for him, huge for the group, and just huge to be in that situation for our guys and finish the game. And just be able to be that be that defense that can go out there at the end of the game. We know we need to stop. There's no question that we need it, and being able to make it in that big moment, especially against that offense and that area of the field that is so tough, being able to come out with that was huge. And I think a lot of it, like I said, is for our guys prepping to where they understand off of sets a little bit more of what they're getting. At the end of the day, though, you got to be a ball player. You got to find a way to see your keys and make plays, and that's what they did in the biggest moment. Kind of to the questions earlier, it's prep so that we're going to see different stuff we haven't prepped for all year. That's what happens defensively. They can put in a whole new offense in a week if they want to, but it's our guys knowing what's my keys and what are some tendencies that we're seeing so I can react and play fast.
Go ahead and backed up. What do you pick it up?
Maybe. I tell them that 100%. No, those games are like, hey, man, whatever you just did, I just joke with him about not being able to tip it to himself. But it's just, that's the thing for me with this group right now. We still got a long way to go. I really believe we haven't played our best football yet. I mean, because you watch the film, the details of it, there's still a lot to clean up. There's still steps that we need to take. But the way these guys are playing, how hard they're playing for each other, I am very proud of that. And I'm not going to take anything away from that.
Part of being an elite defense is the eye candy. I'm talking like stats. And the media and fans like the stats. Outside of the final score, when you look at a game sheet at the end of the night or analyze your team on Sunday morning, what stats do you look at first?
Yeah, no, obviously the biggest stats win the game, without question. Then for us, the big one, stop the run. At the end of the day, playing defense at any level, you can't do anything if you don't stop the run. So I have a checklist that I go through. Then it talks about, obviously, how you attack the pass game. Could be sacks, could be obviously all the different pass side of things. But for us, the biggest one is stop the run. And then it's eliminating explosive plays. If you stop the run and you eliminate explosive plays, more times than not that you're going to be perfect on defense, but you're going to feel pretty good about the product that happened that night. Those are the big ones we look at. And then obviously the last one's always third down and red zone. Those are the main ones that I look at, or that we look at to see that we're great. And our guys know it. We have a sheet right after the game. They know exactly what we're going to go through, and it's yes or no. Can I tell you guys in life, and especially on defense, it's not, well, yeah, you kind of – this is our stat. Did we stop the run or not? And they're like, we did. Perfect. Move on. And these are some reasons why we did, and these are some reasons that if we don't get this fixed, it's going to show up next week, because the same team is going to look at that film and be like, oh, we got something on you. And so trying to make sure our guys understand that.
And is that immediately post-game or like back here in town?
Back here in town, yeah. So we'll kind of have on Sundays we meet with the guys, and that's kind of where we'll go through kind of like a post-game recap, guys. This is how we did. And it's always, these are some positive things, guys. This is where we can build on. And then these are obviously some things that we need to grow in. And every week I tell them, like, don't ever think you're not going to come here and not have something that we need to grow in, me included. I always find ways to make sure I tell them, guys, this is a call or a situation or how we taught this last week that I got to be way better at. And I apologize to that, and we'll get this fixed so you can be better next week. So we're all involved. We're all in this together, and that's something that trying to breed that in everything you do, because that's defense.
Along these same lines, it seems like, for the most part this season, you look over the box score and Scott Matlock's stat line is, it's okay. But to go back and watch how he impacts the game, how much fun is it, and how much does he impact the game?
He impacts the game from snap one to the end, without question. One of the what I think is sometimes missed about Scott, obviously he's a great football player. He's growing week in and week out, but he's one of the smartest football players on our entire football team in regards to situational football, fronts, how an offensive line's attacking. Like, he is a guy that can get stuff fixed on the field quicker than anybody. And so he adds so much of that, and just situational awareness. I mean, he can feel what an offense is trying to do from a lot of different variations. And so he brings that to our defense, and just his leadership ability on the field. But there's a lot of plays as a D tackle that he doesn't get the tackle because there's three guys blocking him, and then a linebacker makes the tackle, and it's like, oh, great job to the linebacker, but no one sees the D tackle that's just fighting his tail off. And so we make sure we highlight those. But he's a monster part of what we do, and there's still, just like every guy on this team, including me, there's still a lot of stuff he can grow in, but Scott's impact is across the board.
After the game, you kind of chased him down, ran after him, and you guys embraced it a long hug.
Mm-hmm.
What did that mean, and what do you say to him?
Yeah, I mean, guys, I love these kids, man, and it chokes me. I mean, just the work they put in from January to day in and day out. I mean, just love these kids, and seeing them do what they do on a week-to-week basis. Now, once again, not perfect, but I see them in here early. I see them here late. I see them fight their tails off in the training room to get their bodies ready for these moments. So then when I'm able to see them do that, like a Scott Matlock, and that's only to name one, I mean, it chokes me. I want to go grab him, give him the biggest hug, tell them I love them, because I just know how hard they work to get to that moment. And then see them achieve that, like that's life. Like you worked your tail off, and it wasn't happening for you. You work your tail off, it's hard, and then all of a sudden you achieve the result because of the hard work you put in. And that's what chokes me up talking about these players, because that's what they're doing day in and day out. Doesn't mean it's going to be perfect on Saturdays. Doesn't mean we still don't got a long way to go and a long way to grow as a defense. But these guys are working hard, and so when I see them achieve some success and see things go the way that I want it for them, that's why again I wanted to grab and hug every single one of them, just because I see and I know the war they're in day in and day out to be able to do that. It's not easy. What we ask these guys to do is not easy. The schedule and what it takes to be an elite defense is not easy, but they're working so hard at it. So, anyways, I can go on a long tangent about some of that, but no, he was just one to name a couple that I just wanted to go grab and just love on him, man. I'm very proud of him.
Tyreek Jones has been one of your most impressive tacklers over the last month. How important is that aggression at the nickel position?
Oh, it's big time. And honestly, you watched the film last weekend. He was very physical at the point of attack, and he was a violent tackler. He did a lot of awesome things for us on the perimeter, and it's really cool to see him do that. Be able to obviously cover a guy in the slot, which is usually one of the top receivers you're going against, as well as be able to set edges in the run game. There's not a lot of people that can do that, and having Tyreek Jones do that and seeing him grow into that role this year and still have some things that he's working his tail off to grow in. I mean, after practice, you'll see him have a couple. He'll be one of the last ones off the field, just working either techniques or ball drills, just because he wants to be great and he knows how much that position for our defense is paramount. And him working his tail off to grow has been awesome. But it's been cool to see him step up in a major way.
I know Johnny asked you the first question about how elite is this defense, but when you look at the stats, I mean, there's historic record-breaking stuff going on here. I mean, I know you're in the moment, you can't really tell.
Yeah.
I mean, are we seeing a historically good Boise State defense here?
We'll talk at the end of the season. No, I mean, and that's really what I tell our guys. I mean, I think just like anything, to this point, like I told you guys, there's a lot to grow on, but we can be proud of how hard these guys are playing. Now, the stat line we look at week to week, okay, how are we doing, how are we growing and stopping the run, third downs, all these things. And we try, and I'm trying from the players to the coaches not to look at it, because at the end of the day, you could have one or two bad games on defense, and those stats are out the window. You know, that's just the nature of playing elite defense, where you live on that razor's edge, where the difference between being elite and being average isn't a whole lot sometimes. And so just from a coaching staff to the players, the stats and all those things which we look at, we're going to wait to look at those things till after the season. Right now, it's just week in and week out. Okay, what are some things we did well? Let's make sure we do that again. What are some things that are showed up that we got to grow in, either from a position group, a fundamental, a technique, and then let's fix those. And then for me, what are some things that I got to make sure I'm putting these guys in better spots and not putting them in situations where they can't be successful. But from a overall defense perspective in regards to how elite this defense is, man, I love these group, and we'll see exactly where we're at the end of the season.
One more.
I can take two more. It's up to you. Yeah.
When it comes to tackling, I know we've asked you this before, but have you guys done anything differently, going into this year when it came to technique, form, whatever it might be? Because it just seems like the best tackling team I've probably seen since I've covered Boise State.
Yeah, it definitely is something we emphasize a ton, Jay. And I think I've maybe talked to you guys about this before. The four emphasis we talk about with our team, first and foremost, is communication, eye control. The second one's pursuit. The third one's tackling. And the fourth is takeaway. So not to preach at you guys, we can get to defense later. But so tackling is obviously it's a tackle game. And so we're always looking at different ways to drill something that is related to the tackles we're getting. And we have circuits set up for these. And Coach Av, Coach Ione, our D staff, we look at these things to see, okay, where are we missing tackles? Where are some things maybe that a tackle show up? And then also trying to keep it new and fresh for our guys. That's something that I think we've done a good job is it's not, all right, here we go, tackling circuit again, the same drill we've been doing since August, whatever time we started fall camp, to where you're always putting guys in different situations. And we emphasize a ton of practice. Regardless of the tempo, there is a way to finish on the ball carrier that we emphasize in a major way. Once again, there's some really good looks at it on Saturday. There's some that we can be better. And we use the exact same clips when we come in here as a defense, and I show them, hey, guys, this is a good tackle. This is where your eyes should be. This is your pad level. You're going right through the thigh boards. Perfect. This is one that we got to grow in, and then we're going to work it in the drills that week. But at the end of the day, making those getting the ball and making the tackle when you get there and being violent, that's playing really good defense if you can get that done consistently. And so it's a huge emphasis for us. We're always looking at ways to drill it better. There's drills we like, then you do those 2 or 3 weeks in a row. You're like, hey, we got to find some little tweak to keep our guys, off a little bit to where they got to react to it. And so trying to always find those things.
Colorado State struggling a little bit on offense, but I'm sure you can find things that concern you.
No question.
What are those things about what they've done successfully this year that you got to keep your eye out
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you look at Colorado State. I mean, they've won 2 of their last 3 games. They're obviously improving week in and week out. Their quarterback's back. He's doing some really good things. Can throw the ball a mile. But I think they're finding out more and more who they are too. I mean, they got a big physical line up front. I think their tailback number 25 is one of the better tailbacks in our conference. I mean, very physical, tough to take down, and they got some receiving threats on the outside. And obviously, the nature of their offense puts you in a lot of conflict in regards. You got to stop the run because they'll pound it. But they have a lot of different concepts in regards to the pass game that put you in conflict to stop the run versus the pass. And so, and we know they're going to have a lot for us on the Blue this weekend. Obviously, when we played that same staff at Nevada last year, they got off to us pretty good. So we're excited for the challenge. We know they're going to be ready, and our guys are excited for it too.